Chill, chill. All right, let's get to this shit. Get to it. Get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. I already know. Happy to see everybody. But unfortunately, uh, unfortunately, the reason why I disappeared. How am I? If you want the truth, I'm fucked. I'm fucked up. If you want the absolute truth, I'm fucked up. But I can explain why. Give me a second. I'm just trying to put these earrings in. Put the earrings in. Hold on. Well, as y'all see, I switched from the gold to the silver. So as you see, everything is silver now. Right? Silver, silver. Everything is silver. It's for a reason. And then I'm only going to share it with y'all because y'all pretty much know everything else. So why am I not doing so good? Well, I don't really have to say it. I really don't have to say it. All you got to do is take a look at that. You see this right here? See that right there? All right, that's all you got to know. That's all you got to see. That's all you got to see, right? So you all know what the deal is. That's all you got to see. So I've been dealing with death. That's what I've been dealing with. So much so that death becomes you, right? To the point where I pretty much died, right? I died. That's why it was hard for me to come back. Even now, but I gotta get over that shit. I gotta get over it. All right? Because we're coming up to the anniversary to the book of the law. All right? We're coming up to the anniversary. April 8th. April 8th through 10th. The book of the law was revealed. So I'm like, why not pop up? Why not pop up? He goes, my condolences. You can't imagine. You can't imagine. That's why yeah, it's hard for me to even say it. It's hard for me to even say it. That's why I like it. See what's going on. I ain't got to say it. So you already know. So I had to fall back and figure out what the fuck is who I am, what the fuck is going on. I had to figure some shit out. All right. I've been fucking with the hard liquor, fucking with the wine, been fucking with the shrooms, been fucking with the herb. So yeah, it's been pretty psychoactive. Been pretty psychoactive. Psychoactive. But I really had to come back from the dead because it was a point where I didn't even want to be here type shit. I'm just gonna be completely honest. That shit had me feeling so bad. That shit hurt me to a point where I'm like, yeah, I can't even keep doing what I did. That's why I'm like, I can't even be Asha Renew no more type shit. Like I can't even do that shit. I'm not the same, right? you're happy I'm back. I wish it was under better circumstances. However, I feel like I got to do it though. You know what I mean? I don't get to be like everybody else and just fall back and mourn. I don't get to mourn, but you see, I'm still punching that clock. Right? I'm still doing 40 plus hours. I didn't take a break. So let's just get to the real shit. So all this time, I'm not at home, just in a corner somewhere. I'm still making shit happen in the corporate world, right? Still advancing, still making shit happen. Like I said, I made my way from the back of the building, throwing fucking boxes out of trucks. Now I'm all the way in the front of the goddamn building making plays and just on the radio all day. All right. So I really don't have too much to complain about other than the obvious. But it was a lot just for me to do this. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot. It was a lot for me to even get back on camera. So I ain't been making no content, and then I just had to figure. I'm like, what? Like, who the fuck am I? Or like a part of you dies when like the closest person to you die. When you known this person your whole life, it's like, what the fuck? You gotta reconfigure some shit. It's like, damn, I never imagined that I would lose my mother at 33, but people lose their mother before that. So that's really not it's not really a decision we have to make now, do we? So I've just been communicating with her on the other side with the necromancy, and it led me to wonderful things, you know, things like this. All right, Santa Morte. So if you want to know, well, what do you learn from that? Well, I usually don't even get this personal, but I will. But don't expect this to be don't expect this to be often. But what happened? I found this deck. As you see, this says the Book of the Dead, right? You see if y'all can see that. It may be backwards. It says Book of the Dead, right? I found this deck 1 week before she died, but I didn't buy it. I just put it like in the Amazon cart. So I literally had this deck. I found this deck on Amazon. I put it in the cart, but I never bought it. It was a week before she died. And after she died, and I'm like, and I looked at the cart. I'm like, oh shit, I never bought the deck. But I'm like, oh, I wasn't supposed to buy the deck until after the fact. So what are the odds that I discover a deck like this a week before my mother dies? And then not only does she die, my mother was pregnant, right? Again, don't expect me to get this personal, but she was pregnant when she died. So she had a child inside of her when she died. So we actually lost two family members, not just one, we lost two family members. If you look on this, you see she's pregnant. You see that belly? Now, again, mind you, I found this a week before she died. So it didn't really make too much sense. So I'm like, okay, that's a nice deck, Book of the Dead, no problem. But then after the fact, I'm like, what the fuck? How do I find this a week before she died? And I'm like, that's her. I'm like, oh shit. Her archetype is Santa Morte because this is exactly how she died. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, I feel like that was her communicating to me before she departed the earth. That was her comforting my soul because that stopped a lot of tears, that stopped a lot of pain and regret and hurt, right? Because of that, I'm like, oh shit, she just sent me this message. So she already knew what the deal is. She was just letting me know and preparing me, right? So as hurtful as it is, I had to just look at the actual facts of this. I'm like, oh shit, she did kind of let me know. Another thing is my mother had already been ready. For example, she would always tell us, what I mean by us is me and my sisters, our two sisters. She would always tell us, like, yo, if anything happened to me, here's all the paperwork. It's like she prepared for her death. And it's like looking back at this shit, I'm like, she just knew. I'm like, how the fuck do you? I'm like, she was young, right? She wasn't even 50 years old. So this is a young woman. This is not an elder, right? My mother was not an elder. She didn't even make it to elderhood, all right? So she got the fuck up out of here. She's like, I'm sick of this shit, all right? So she sent her final message, like, yo, here you go. I'm up out of here though. It's my last gift to you. So, when something like that happened, I'm like, it's only so much you can cry. It's only so much pain you can feel before you realize, like, okay, I have to live more than what I was before. I have to be more than what I was now. I can't keep being the same. That's why I'm like, I'm not even Oscar Renew. I'm not the same no more. I can't be the same. I have to be more now. Because now I feel like I'm the fucking elder of the goddamn family. I'm like, how the fuck this happened? How the fuck this happened? But then I look at the Christ. I'm like, oh, that's why they killed the Christ at 33. I'm like, oh, this shit is just symbolism all over the place. I'm like, all right, so I go into the underworld at 33 because I've never felt no shit like that. I went deep into the underworld, deeper than I ever been, right? To the point where I'm like, oh, I'm ready to off myself. I'm like, oh, this is suicide. Now I get that shit. I didn't get it before. I'm like, oh, this is what people feel when they be ready to check out. I'm like, oh, I felt it now. I guess they call it grief. I felt that grief to make you want to just check the fuck up. I'm like, oh man, because it just makes you feel bad as a person. I'm like, damn, I could have did more. I should have been there. I did this. All these things go through your mind. So I had to go through the underworld for real this time, right? Not because I made a decision. Now I was forced to go through the underworld. And again, when I look at that, I'm like, yo, how the fuck do I find this deck a week before she dies? And this is her. I'm looking at her. I'm like, well, man, how does that happen? And the only way for me to explain that is that's just the nature of death. I feel like everybody who dies sends messages, but you got to be in tune to get that shit. I just so happen to be in tune. So I'm dealing with her death a little differently than my sisters, who are on different paths, right? So you can say they're dealing with it the hard way. They just got to deal with that shit. I feel like she gave me a little grace. Like, I'm giving this to you just to ease the pain that I know you're going to face, which is exactly what it did. It eased the pain. So that's why I'm not just a fucking mess like somebody would be when their mother dies. I'm like, what do I do with this? How do I use this to be better? So that's what it's been. It's been putting in work even more than I was before. But anyway, I'm not gonna spend forever just talking about this. So I got it out so y'all know why I disappeared. I mean, I had to grieve my mother and just accept the fact that I would not ever see her again physically. All right. So now I got to really do the necromancy. Now I got to really go into the astral to see her. Now I can only see her in the astrals in the dream plane. Right. Very hard pill to swallow. Very hard pill to swallow. That's not an easy pill to swallow, but a necessary one. Right. For your own sanity. So other than that, I would say in terms of, I guess, where we are collectively, because again, we're coming up on the anniversary of the Book of the Law, right? We're on the anniversary. A few days, it'll be what, over 100 years. And for those who are really true to this, what I mean this, which is 93, right? If you truly knew how deep this system goes, it would be very clear why 93 is the apex. I feel like there's nothing above 93. What do I mean by that? There is no other spiritual system that goes into the amount of depth 93 goes into, aka the Lima. Why do I say that? Because there were updates that were made that's different than what happened before. What do I mean by that? So not only did Crowley update the tarot by giving new imagery, he also updated the Kabbalah that we call the Tree of Life. Certain paths were switched. What do I mean by certain paths were switched? For example, for those who understand the paths, the path of the chariot became the path of the Hierophant. The path of the Hierophant became the path of the chariot. Pretty much they switched sides to make it more articulate, meaning when something is as old as the Kabbalah, as astrology, as numerology, these are very, very old sciences. So they have to be updated in order for us to comprehend it, especially us Westerners. Again, the main point is 93 or Thelema is a combination of the Eastern sciences and the Western side. For anybody who has read the Book of the Law, you already know that to be true. If you look at the imagery in the cards, you already know that to be true. So it's not just Western philosophy and imagery and occultism, it's also Eastern philosophy and occultism merged into one, which had not been done before Aleister Crowley. And since then, nobody has came and made it more advanced because the people who would actually be qualified to do something like that would be people like you and me, right? It has to really be in your heart. A lot of people, it ain't really in their heart. Whatever, I'm not saying for Lima 93, whatever it is, meaning they not true to whatever it is, because you have to find your true will first, right? You have to discover your true will. That's how you can be true to whatever it is that you're true to, because it's already written in the stars for you to be that. That's why the whole purpose of the Lima is to discover your true will, having knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel, right? Now, I realize that most people don't really even understand what they're really dealing with because during this time away, I've been studying deeper into the system. Then there was things that I didn't even know. For example, Enochian magic is connected to the Kabbalah because Crowley connected it. Now, it wasn't connected before, that was something Crowley did. And there is a lot of Enochian symbols and letters and evocations, invocations, meaning that's a system that exists in and of itself that was created or channeled by John Dee. For those who want to know the history, the Enochian system or the Enochian magic, the Enochian angels, this is more so you can say angelic magic. This comes from John Dee. Crowley took it and then placed it into the Kabbalah. So now you can match these Enochian angels with a Sephra or a Clipper for those who are into the tree of death. This hadn't been done before. The same thing with the Goetia, the Notoria, the demons, the angels, or the jinn and the angels. None of this stuff had been connected before that. So, in my opinion, the most advanced system is the Lima. The Lima, there's nothing more advanced than the Lima because at this point, it was created by the most proficient person of that time, which is Al Shakur. Again, he doesn't get the credit. However, he was the most proficient author of his time. He published more works during his lifetime than anybody else who was on the planet. There was nobody else who put out more works than him while he was alive. And as we know, most of those works are dedicated to the Lima. So we're talking about hundreds of works, even thousands of pieces of writings. He probably has thousands of pieces of writings, which most people have never seen. But that's why it's called it's a secret society. Most people ain't supposed to see this shit because they don't even know what to do with it when they do see it, right? What would they do with it? What would they do with the Enochian alphabet, Enochian angels? That ain't something that the average, they don't know what are they gonna do with that? You gotta be advanced to even know what to do with this shit. That's why you dedicate yourself to it. This ain't really something you just walk into and try to figure out. That's why Chloe had to assemble all these things. This ain't something you just figured out even. That's why he needed AWAS. He needed his holy guardian angel to do this. This is not just a man, a mortal who just did this. This is somebody who connected to their holy guardian angel, exactly what we're supposed to be doing, right? So he was able to do the most advanced magical system known to man and woman because he had help of the holy guardian angel. This ain't just somebody who was just extra smart, who was just smarter than everybody. Nothing like that. Nowhere close. But he was the greatest magician of his time. That's why he had to create the system. So now that we have access to all these writings, it's hard. It's not hard. It's easy to get lost because you're like, well, what do I read? If you're talking about hundreds of books, you're talking about thousands of writings. Where the fuck do you start? What pieces do you take to make something tangible? That's why it takes a while. That's why you see we've been here 10 fucking years. It's taken us this long just to get here because of how advanced this shit is. That's what I'm saying, all right? So even if you're into astrology, numerology, tarot, Kabbalah, what do I always say? Connect this shit. So one more thing I have to mention. If you notice, the videos are no longer public. Everything I did before this is no longer public. So, but I will put those videos on the website. So the videos will no longer be public. All those, the 1,000 videos that I did, why am I doing that? Because again, I feel like I'm not the same person no more. That is like an aeon by itself. That's the previous aeon, you can call it that, right? Because everything moving forward, I'm like, I'm not really trying to expound on all this, everything that I've built up, you can say. Now, we moving on to the next levels. So if you're already here, that's good for you, right? But if you're new here, this is probably it'll be a little challenging. But majority of the people here have been here, so I'm not even worried about that, right? It's not even really too many people, too many new people that's even going to find out about this. Also, I am no longer a YouTube partner on this particular channel. So that means I make $0 from this channel. I already wasn't making any YouTube checks, but YouTube was still, I guess, putting ads on the videos, whatever, because I was still technically a YouTube partner. So I have officially left the YouTube partnership program, right? So I am no longer a YouTube partner. I'm no longer doing business with YouTube other than putting my videos on their website. So I'm just using YouTube as storage at this point. So for anybody who want to access those videos, you will have to access them via the website, which is hidden currently because I'm still uploading the videos. It's gonna take a minute to upload 1,000 fucking videos, right? So the videos are available, just not publicly, right? But you don't need them any goddamn way. That's the thing, right? Why do that? You really don't need them. I feel like I've been saying the same fucking thing. Memorize, right? Memory. Have I not been saying the same thing for years? I'm like, do I really need to spend more years saying the same thing? If you ain't did it by now, you're just gonna get lost. Because I'm just gonna speak to you like I'm gonna expect you to know what the fuck I'm talking about. And if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, it's only because you don't want to know. It's not because I didn't tell you how to do this shit, right? So you don't need the fucking videos. Just do what the video said. Memorize this shit and you good to go. However, if you want to fuck around, it's not gonna be fun for you. Because when real shit occurs, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? All right? A lot of people get soft. I had to get harder. All right? So that's why I'm not taking no days off. I'm right in front of people's face. Right? Grieving. But nobody knows. Because I never made that public. Meaning, the location I work at, I never mentioned that my mother died. Nobody knows that. So, because I didn't want that energy. No, don't feel bad for me. No, don't look at me different. Treat me the exact same way you've been treating me beforehand. So nobody even knows. So people in the real world, majority of these people have no idea. And they're not gonna have no idea. Why? Because I'm like, I don't want that energy around. Don't give me no weak ass energy or I feel sorry for you. No, you don't. This is corporate America. No, the fuck you don't. The only thing y'all care about is me showing the fuck up doing my job. All that other everything outside this shit, fuck it. Right? So I already know ahead of time. I'm like, this ain't even an environment where I need to even reveal this shit. For what? Do I really want people treating me different? Nope. Do I want to be soft? Nope. So majority of the people don't even know that. I'm just telling you because this is an intimate space. And I've been missing in action for like what 2 months or however fucking long it's been. So I'm just explaining to you what's been going on behind the scenes. But other than that, this ain't really something I'm gonna be continuously talking about either. I probably will never mention this shit again. All right. Not gonna. I'm only showing that just to let y'all know how real this shit is, right? That's the only reason I'm even showing that. I'm not putting that on camera just for any other reason, just to let y'all know this is some real shit. That's it. It won't ever be on camera again. But you see, that's marble, right? So we got some real shit back there. That's black marble, and I got the gold on top of it. So it's some fly shit, right? Cause I'm like, I might as well exalt my mother in her death. You know what I mean? Give her a fly ass house. Nothing but marble and gold, silver, nicely decorated. Got some alcohol, got some tobacco. We'll have a nice little setting up there. So again, other than that, I would encourage you, if you are real to this, if you are sincere, to take this seriously. And if you don't take this seriously, take something seriously, whatever the fuck it is that you take seriously. If the Lima is not your thing, if 93 is not your thing, then discover what your thing is and dedicate yourself 100% to that. Really as simple as that. Because at this point, it ain't about right or wrong. It's not about good or bad. It's not about whether you want to be Christian or Muslim or Hebrew or Jewish. All that shit is irrelevant. What matters is the great work. The great work. That's what keeps you alive through lifetimes. So you just don't die, forget, die, forget, die, forget. That's for everybody else. Right? I read Dion Fortune's Mystical Kabbalah 3 times when I was in jail. Shit spoke to me beyond any other works. Now put it together within the context of the Lima. And that's how you really activate it. This is what I'm telling you. I would not be here in front of you if this was not the realest shit on the planet. I have been showing y'all the realest shit on the planet the whole time by being the example right? Fuck the actual content. I'm talking about living this shit out, right? Y'all have seen me live this out. Not just teaching this shit, living it out, right? I done took y'all through so many clip-offic tunnels, it's ridiculous, right? To the point where I don't even want to brag about the shit no more. That's why I removed the videos. I'm like, so fucking what? Yeah, I took y'all here. I done took y'all all over the country. So what? What are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with it? That's why I say just be real with whatever it is that you that speaks to you, whatever that is. Because again, I know Thelema is not everybody's things. I mean, again, just look around. However, hold on, give me a second. I'm trying to. I wanted to play some music, but I really don't even know what to play. I should just play my own shit. I should just play my own shit, right? All right. Um. All right. Give me a second. I'm gonna play my own stuff in the background. But of course, it's another thing I didn't mention. I don't think it's a coincidence either that recently, as y'all see, I had just started getting sturdy, right? I just started getting sturdy. I just started that shit like this year, right? Like last year going into this year. Like I just started getting sturdy, which I discovered that's the modern version of ghost dancing. Ghost dancing is waking up the dead, right? So, and I was speaking about that, waking up the dead, catching the Holy Ghost. I'm like, I never caught the Holy Ghost until I started getting sturdy. Why is that? Which is just waking up the energy of the dead, which you can say is a form of necromancy. So I don't find it a coincidence that my mother died shortly after I began to get necromantic. What do I mean by that? Meaning I'm like, okay, well, now I have a reason to communicate with the dead. Now it's not just, people that have died. Now I have a real reason to get sturdy and to really deal with this darkness for real, right? Which is maintaining a relationship with my elder, right? And gain that wisdom. Because again, as I explained earlier, this came from her higher self, or you could say the holy guardian angel. This wasn't, she never cared about a fucking tarot deck in real life. But clearly her soul was more. Which is clear by the example. I'm like, yo, how the fuck do I find that? And that's exactly the situation she was in. That's not a coincidence to me. So obviously that was something soulful, or as we call spiritual. I just say soulful. That's a part of the soul. So even though the spirit is dead, the soul remains continuous. So essentially at this point, it's just connecting with the soul force, not the spiritual force, the soul force. What has happened is many people have gotten so caught up with spirit, they have no idea what soul is. Because soul isn't really spoken about or studied or anything, because everything is spiritual now. It's not really soulful. That's like the older generations, like soul music and soul this, soul that. You see, we don't even really use those terms too often. It's why? Why do we use spirit more than soul? Because most people are spiritual. Meaning when they die, that's it. That probably sounds a little extreme, but that's just the reality of it. most so-called spirit. That's another reason why I said fuck YouTube, because I be looking at these so-called spiritual people and I'm not impressed. What I mean by not impressed is it's just a bunch of, why is it so much drama and mess within the so-called spiritual community? And I've been ranting and raving about that shit, right? It doesn't make me proud to say I'm a fucking YouTuber and I'm a content creator and I'm a spiritual person. Cause I'm like, look at all these other motherfuckers who's making this shit look like a fucking joke, look like a mockery. This shit does not make me proud. Like, this is what I dedicated myself to. For people to come and just do some stupid ass shit, apparently so, right? However, you don't see me in the bullshit. So I'm like, I gotta come back and bring balance to this shit. Right? Cause I'm like, what the fuck? Cause all these other, again, so-called teachers or spiritual people and all that, I'm like, it's not it. It's incomplete. The system that they use is incomplete. That's basically all I'm saying. This is not an attack at anybody's character. This is not an attack at anybody's morals. This is just the system in which they exist in is incomplete. Again, they're using old tarot, so that their tarot is not updated. Because they're not, again, if you're not into the Lima, none of your shit is updated. This is the point that I'm making here. Just to make it even more plain. If you're not into the Lima, which was basically a update to all things that we consider soulful and spiritual, the Lima was just an update to it. Or y'all want to use it in the 20th century, in the 21st century? Well, it needs to be updated. We don't need to be doing the same thing they was doing in the Middle Ages, right? Our tarot should not reflect the same tarot of the Middle Ages. Somebody had to come along and update it for the new Aeon, which is exactly what Crowley did. Because everything before that, and it says this in the Book of the Law, everything before that is dead. That means majority of the people, so-called spiritual people, is working with dead energy. They're working, but that will explain why is so much bullshit attached to these people. Does that not explain it? Because you would think, as you become more wise, you become more smooth and you become more refined. But we don't really see that. Like, wise people ending up in jail and shit. How do you become a spiritual teacher and end up in jail? Or end up fucked up? Like, what are we doing here? Why do I come on YouTube and see a bunch of drama and mess and beef? And this is supposed to be a spiritual community, but again, spirit fucking with those spirits will have you fucked up. That's it. That's all it come down to. That's why I'm making the differentiation between soul and spirit. So all these spiritual people are again in these loops doing all type of shit and getting in all type of situations that is like, yo, what the fuck does this have to do with the message? Nothing at all. So that's why I had to reappear. I'm like, okay, well, if I don't do it, then who the fuck else is gonna do it? I'm not about to wait for somebody else to come along. So this is what I mean by time will tell, right? It's not too many people who've been on here for as long as I've been on here and who has a clean slate. And I just say that because I've been around the whole time. I'd seen everything. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. And what I mean by I've been around, I mean I've been in these atmospheres the whole time. I've been telling y'all this, right? I've been on YouTube since YouTube existed. So I didn't seen every dimension of this channel or this website. I didn't seen people come and go. I didn't seen people blow up and fall off. I didn't seen everything, right? Because I've been observing, but also teaching. But then when I look at where a lot of people ended up, meaning they may have had more numbers, more subscribers, but then your reputation is fucked.
So why does it matter? So that's one of those things I had to come to the conclusion of. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's why I'm supposed to be a small channel on this particular channel. This was never meant to be a worldly channel. This was never meant for anybody outside of a special class. Because I don't see who else will find anything I do or say attractive other than that you got to be built this way already. Because I don't think you will find this attractive. Like, why would you spend your free time trying to study tarot cards, and astrology signs, and Sephiroth? That's not what the average person is doing. They can give a fuck about any of these things. So if that's how you spend your free time, then that means like, okay, there's something within you that goes beyond this world. That's what we call the soul, right? Or the divine spark. You have a divine spark within you that makes you want to transcend beyond the norm. Because the norm ain't worth a damn either, right? Again, I'm amongst this shit. I'm in corporate America for real now, right? So but I'm doing this for a reason. I'm not doing this for no fucking money. I'm like, yo, I need to reveal everything. I didn't show y'all the streets, but now I gotta show y'all the corporate side of this shit, right? I'm supposed to be doing that, right? I mean, how long am I gonna show y'all the shit that I just showed y'all already? That's all I'm saying. I'm like, all right, we done been there, we done done that. Y'all done seen that. But I know a lot of y'all are also in the corporate world just like me. So now I can give you more than what I gave you when I was in the streets, mastering this shit, right? But that's why I just felt it was so important for me to be the example. Like, let me not be another talking head on YouTube. Let me actually demonstrate this. I need to demonstrate the effectiveness of this. So, that's why I just made it a thing to demonstrate and to live it out and not just be another talking head. Because we see what happens to these fucking talking heads, right? They're not real, they're not true, but time reveals that. It's not because I said it. They destroyed themselves, really, because they were skipping levels. So, don't skip levels. If you didn't see me for 10 years, a whole decade, you didn't see me not skipping levels. I could have easily been a lot further, a lot higher, but I'm like, oh, I don't want to skip levels. Let me take 10 years and not 5 years, because I'm not trying to skip levels. So when I got it, I really got this shit, and it ain't going nowhere. Versus it's all over the place. One day I'm this, one day I'm that, 1 year I'm this. Y'all see, it's been Thelema the whole fucking time, right? It's been consistent, which is what I don't really see with a lot of spiritual people. Again, spirits, depending on what spirits they're working with, that will determine their energy. But you see, with us, the energy ain't changing based on the spirits we fuck with. The energy is still the same because we are working with and dealing with things that are beyond spirit. Most spiritual systems do not go beyond spirit because they were created by spirit. So how can you go above spirit when spirit is the creator of what you exist within? That's essentially what people say when the whole demiurge and why this is a stimulation, why this is a matrix. Meaning there's things beyond this shit. And as you become more wise, you begin to know that. And that's why I give these examples, right? To let you know, like, oh, things are more than what they appear to be, than what they seem. But you have to bring it out, though. It ain't just gonna come to you. See, a lot of people, for example, they study things like synchronicity. But if you ask them who created that word, who created synchronicity? Somebody originated that word. The same way I used to say, well, who created the law of attraction? People use all these terms and they don't even know where it comes from. So how am I supposed to take you seriously if you don't read? Especially if it's coming out of your mouth. So y'all know, like, all right, if I'm gonna talk about the Lima, I should pretty much study it because what the fuck would I really be talking about if I don't know it? if I don't have it in my mind, not on a piece of paper, if I don't have it in my mind. And my memory banks, 'cause that's the secret. While everybody trying to make more money, you are expanding your memory. The more you expand your memory, which is infinite, so you have a limit on how much money you can make, but people say, well, you can make as much money as you want. Okay, sure. Sure. There's no limit on the imagination, though. Then you get the money. That's for whatever reason people want to skip levels. Meaning, if you can't even expand into the imagination, which is the unconscious mind, which is the psyche, which is the alter ego, which is the collective unconscious, if you can't even operate from that perspective, then what are we doing here? But what happened was people got caught up in the bread and the clout, as we call it, right? People got caught up in the clout. They started doing their numbers, they started getting their subscribers, and then they lose themselves. For whatever reason, people like seeing train wrecks. For whatever reason, people like seeing train wrecks. Because it's something within them. The same thing. People just want to see drama, all type of shit, right? Hold on, give me a second. Let me put this charger in here. 1 second. All right. But even me, like yeah, I've been going through some shit. I had busted my chin like wide open type shit. So beyond my mother dying, like my chin I got busted open. Why? Fucking around, slam my shit right on the concrete. Fucking around on scooters and shit, electric scooters, going in turbo mode, and I'm on the sidewalk with all this turbulence. I'm like, yep, I was asking for it. Fell projected off the, split my shit. You can't really see it because it's facial hair. This is the only thing covered. I would show you the picture, but it's kind of gruesome. Cause I took the picture. My shit was hanging. That shit was. But I didn't get stitches. Cause I had to make a decision. I'm like, am I real or fake? Do I just go to the hospital like everybody else and let them stitch me up? Or do I say true? I'm like, you are your own doctor. This should be something you know how to fix. So I fixed it myself. Because I'm supposed to do that, right? I'm not supposed to go to another man or another woman and then pay them because they're going to charge, and they charge ridiculous amounts. So I'm like, do I really want to get charged ridiculous amounts for a mistake I made? And I'm supposed to be the one to have a solution for it, especially I'm supposed to be the naturalist. I'm supposed to have these natural remedies and all that. Fuck it. As you see, that's exactly what I did, and you will never know that I split my shit. Maybe you can see it. Maybe you can see it. I don't know if you can. Maybe you can see it. You see that? Again, you're not gonna really, but yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, you see that shit is healed over, but you can't really see it though. But you see the hair don't even grow right there. You see that? Anyway, blood everywhere. I'm like, damn, I ain't never bled that much. I saw more blood I ever seen in my life. I'm like, damn, I ain't. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, anyway. So I'm like, I was really going through something. I was off balance, all type of shit. Oh, I'm like, oh, shit like that ain't supposed to be happening. But I was off center. So I'm just letting you know, that's just another example of, do you really have what it takes? When some real shit happens, are you gonna run to the system? You're gonna run to the matrix that you hate, that you can't stand, or are you gonna figure some shit out? Alternatively, So as you see, no stitches. Now imagine if I would have got stitches. I'd be like that. They be leaving ugly ass scars and shit. That's why I'm like, man, do I really want a fucking scar right here? Nope. So as you see, you would never even know. Again, other than that, you see the hair don't even grow right there. You see that little spot? There you go. That's as much. I'm just gonna cover that shit up with my fit. Now I have a reason to have chin hairs. But I would show you the grossness, but it's actually on this phone. So I don't think y'all want to see that shit though. But it happened. I don't think you want to see it though, and I don't think you want to go through it either. What I will say is, it happened on the night of Mars and the hour of Mars on the 27th day. 2 plus 7 equals 9. That's a triple Mars effect. We know Mars to be the tower. So even that, because again, I was on point. I'm like, damn, that did happen with a triple Mars effect. I'm like, damn, it actually makes sense that that happened. So this is the type of shit I'm thinking about. I'm like, damn, why did that happen? I immediately go to the astrology. I'm going to planetary days, planetary hours. I'm like, okay, what explains it? Okay, there you go. So just like that, I had a reason. I'm like, okay, that was just a time where I should have stayed my ass in the house. I'm like, damn, this is a triple mark. This is a time to stay the fuck in the house. What I do, trying to navigate these streets, when I should have stayed my ass at home. If I knew better, I would have just stayed home, right? This is this is just an example of when you know, and you can adapt your movements according to what you know. So I'm like, okay, Mars, Tower. So this is just an example of how I'll be using this shit every day. I'll be using this every day. So for example, like at certain times, I'm gonna stay my ass in the house, and other times I'm gonna navigate. I know better now, right? If you want to have a certain experience, you're gonna have to do it at a certain time. For whatever reason, people skip levels. This is what I'm saying. People skip levels. Does the normal astrologer even deal with planetary days and hours? Nope. Go to your local astrologer, ask about planetary days and hours. They probably don't even deal with that. That ain't a part of their curriculum. Curriculum. I'm saying that shit wrong, right? That ain't a part of what they teach. Because I've never seen it. But again, I feel like most of the stuff I revealed I've never seen or I've never heard. Again, even to this day, who the fuck can you really go to even learn Thelema on YouTube? Who is a go-to person for Thelema on YouTube? And we're talking about 2024, not 2014 and 2024. Because if I type in Thelema right now, what do you think I'm going to see? Meaning, I'm saying that to say, even me being associated with Thelema is some unusual shit. That ain't no shit that you just stumble upon, right? Nobody, you probably not gonna have somebody walk up on you. Hey, you want to be a Thelemite? That's not how people become Thelemites, right? It got to be some other shit going on, some shit happening behind the scenes. I'm like, how the fuck do you end up over here? So yeah, I'm looking at Thelema. I typed in Thelema right now, right? I'm looking at Thelema, and all I'm seeing is people talking about it, but I'm not seeing practitioners. I mean, I see people like, what is Thelema? That came out a year ago. All the videos that I'm seeing right now, what is Thelema 1 year ago? Then they got Thelema music. Well, no, it's not. It's songs that are named Thelema. I guess there are songs that's named after Thelema. But again, that's 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 8 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. What the fuck is going on? Clearly, this is not something popular. Clearly, this is something that most people never is gonna even run into. They're never gonna experience this. So how the fuck did we end up over here? I'm just making this clear. Is it because Aleister Crowley was this dark, mysterious person, the wickedest man in the world, or is it something more valid than that? I see there's a YouTube channel called The Lemic Union. I'm gonna click on this. But again, that was still 3 years ago. The only person I see into the Lima is European woman. It's a European woman. I'm not seeing no tinted skin at all. So essentially, the people that talk about the Lima on YouTube don't look like me. Why the fuck am I here? How did I learn about this shit? And even to this day, after talking about this shit for 10 years, you can still barely even find no real shit on this. Why? Because people already know. Yeah, you start talking about Aleister Crowley, what does that mean? Demonetized. You want to talk about the Lima? Demonetized. So I see the game. The game is people are not going to talk about shit that not going to put money in their pocket. That's what it comes down to. People are making this content for money. They're not making content just to educate the people. They want if it's not going to make no money, they're not going to do it. If it's not a financial benefit for them, they're not going to do it. So they're trying to make videos that's going to do the numbers. And here we go. Look at this channel. It's a channel called The Lemic Union, but it's only 36 videos. So I wouldn't call that valid. They only got 36 videos on this bitch. Let me see when the last video came out. I guess they just recently. Oh, and it's a white dude. He's showing his face. So it's another white dude. European man, huh? But even this channel, he just started. He just started uh, uploading videos again after not uploading anything for like a year. You got a video that came out a year ago. Then the next video came out 4 months ago. And there's a lot of Thelema here. I see it. But what are you gonna do with 36 videos though? This is not an example of the vastness of the Lima. The reason why I had 1,000 videos is reflecting how vast this shit is. Understand that. I had to have 1,000 videos. That's just how vast this is. So a person just creating 36 videos, and again, there's no disrespect to this person as a person. I'm just making it known that even to this day, this information is still not easy to get unless you read the source material, which is the works of Crowley himself. Because once you start dealing with people that's interpreting the word, you get lost. You get lost. Looking at some of these videos, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 minutes. So why do I make live streams 10 hours long then? If I can explain some shit in 3 minutes. The Lima ain't no shit you can explain in 3 minutes. You see, I be getting long winded trying to explain this shit, right? It took 1,000 videos to explain this shit. So all I'm saying is, why do we not see this same energy? So if Crowley was prolific, would we not be prolific as well? It makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, well that's why I had to do 1,000 videos. I had to do more videos than majority of the people on YouTube. right? Majority of content creators on YouTube don't have 1,000 videos because I'm like, okay, I have to be prolific. I can't just have a couple videos. I gotta have a whole. What's the word I'm looking for? Mythos. I have to have a whole mythos around this bitch, which is exactly what I did, right? I gave you a whole mythos. I created an alternative universe around this bitch, which is what we're supposed to be doing. All I'm saying is, I'm still looking for Thelema. I'm like, it ain't here. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let me pop back up. Cause I'm like, this shit. I'm looking at again. I'm just looking at this stuff. I'm like, yo, there is no way that you're gonna learn what this shit really is about from watching any of these other people. It's just not gonna happen. And again, I'm looking at them. And again, there's no disrespect. I just don't see the work ethic connected to Crowley. If you really about him, you should have that same work ethic. I don't see it. I do not see the work ethic. What I see is people doing content that's gonna make them money. So why did this whole time I said fuck the money? Majority of the time I've been on here, I haven't been making any money other than doing services for people. I mean, it just I'm not making no money doing YouTube videos. I was making money, doing readings for people, consultations and things like that. I'm not making money directly from videos because I already knew I'm like that's where I should get the money. The money should not be coming from videos. That's just to get people to explore deeper. So if you want to pay me after the fact, then that's on you, but it's not before the fact. So why do we not see people matching this energy? That's what I'm saying. Why do we not see people matching the energy of Crowley? If they're supposed to be his followers, where is the energy? Especially if you're teaching. That's what the book of the law said. It said teach. Teach. So, why are Thelemites not teaching then? Because they should be on YouTube, right? Why the fuck would you not be on YouTube? That's a whole platform for you to teach. Why are you not here? And I'm not talking about you as the viewer, just the people that's supposed to be, okay, we're into magic. They know enough about the shit to make a video about it. I'm like, all right, well, where's the work ethic? I don't see it. And that all that just tells me is, I'm like, no, you're not true. You may be able to fool other people, but you can't fool somebody who done dedicated the whole shit. I'm like, wait a minute. So, don't expect to find this shit anywhere else. As I'm saying, I'm like, yo, you unless you're reading Crowley directly, because there's a lot of people that try to explain Crowley, like made books after him trying to explain what he's talking about. But that ain't really something you're supposed to go to other people for. That's what the Holy Guardian Angel was for, which is you're supposed to unlock within yourself. You wanna understand more about whatever it is. That's what the Holy Guardian Angel was for. So that's why you see, well, I'm always coming up. Put it in your memory. Activate the Holy Ghost. I'm just telling you what to do. So in the case where you see, if I don't make videos, it don't matter, right? Because you're already doing what you're supposed to do. But again, I see where sometimes I just be feeling like I was just chosen to do this shit. Cause I'm like, this shit is just not gonna get done if I don't do it. That's what made me want to make 1,000 videos. I'm like, if I don't do it, it's just not gonna get done. So now I got to make another 1,000 videos. Because as y'all see, I have the work ethic. I got the energy, right? And that's not the issue. The issue was never the energy. I guess my issue was just being able to be consistent but I couldn't be consistent in the beginning because I was navigating all over the place, right? So it's hard to be consistent when you don't have a stable home. You all around this bitch. Now I can provide consistency, but you see, I had to join the corporate world to even do that. So that's what I mean by us degrees. I didn't join the corporate world to say fuck the Lima. I joined the corporate world to expand the Lima. Because all I'm doing is expanding what I'm already doing to the corporate space. Because I see I am amongst people that don't know none of this shit. These are people who they just don't really, how do I explain this shit? How do I explain this shit? Basically, you could say the same way that they say people are institutionalized. Like, okay, you went to jail, you got institutionalized, you went to these schools, you grew up in a certain environment, you're institutionalized. That's basically what corporate America is, just in reverse. Law reversal. That's what corporate America is. Because you get indoctrinated with the school system, whatever school you went to, then the job culture, because every job or every corporate world has a culture, right, that they're trying to push, they're trying to implement. But then it's like, that's all people know, though. But then, people just got regular ass lives again. I'm amongst these people now. It was certain shit that I couldn't really speak on because I wasn't in those circles. I'm in the goddamn circles now. So I'm amongst these motherfuckers. I'm like, all right. You can say these are the left brains of the world. Left brains. So then I had to find my place. I'm like, what is my right brained ass even doing here? Why am I in a space full of left brained people? All they know is calculus, statistics, reading graphs and charts all day. All they know is this corporate shit, this American English shit. This is all they know. I come around pure, and what I mean by pure is, y'all see, I never gave a fuck about none of this shit, right? Meaning y'all see me, the majority of the time y'all see me, I was not working a job. Majority of this time that y'all have seen me, I've not been working. I've only been working this last year, and it's been less than a year. It ain't even been a year yet. It's been less than a year that y'all have seen this version of me, right? But majority of the time, I was fully creative, fully right brain, full entrepreneur, doing everything that everybody else ain't doing, right? In the corporate space, because in the corporate space, you're building up the corporation. When you're an entrepreneur, you're building up your own individuality, right? So y'all see, I've been doing that majority of the time, the whole time, again until recently, because I realized, okay, it's not for me to separate the worlds; it's for me to bring them together. I can stay over here in the right brain, and if I want to, and feel like I'm doing something, but I'm like, no, if I need to be able to penetrate into those worlds, into those ciphers, and then dominate those worlds as well, right? It's not enough for me to just to dominate the right circles. I need to dominate the left circles as well. I need to be amongst people that are intelligent, smart, college educated, PhDs, masters. I need to be amongst these people and be able to understand what the fuck is being said and not feel lost or not feel like an outcast. Not only can I understand what's being said, I should also be able to add on to what's being said. But then I'm like, all right, well, when you see that, like, oh, you're actually, the key component is you. It ain't them, it's you. Meaning the key component is a person who can bring the right brain into the left field. which is something that very few people can do. Why? I'm amongst these people. Again, these are people like military people, like the people I'm amongst. Either they come from the military, they come from like well-to-do families, upbringings. Again, the American experience, right? First world country. So that's why I guess I was comfortable just being in the back of a truck throwing boxes because I was like, I'm not these people. It wasn't until later down the line when I got tired of throwing fucking boxes, which didn't take long. It's like, yo, how many days are you gonna be sore? As y'all know, I was sore every day. So I'm like, do I just want to be sore every fucking day? Or do I need to advance myself? If I want to get up out these trucks, I have to advance myself corporately, taking on new skills. So that's when I was telling y'all, like, all right, I want to get out the trucks. Now I got to drive forklifts. So even though I'm still inside the trucks, I'm not actually lifting the boxes. Now the forklift is doing the lifting. So now I'm just using more mind, right? So that was the first level. Then I begin to work with the computers, problem solving shit, right? Trial and error, troubleshooting, right? That type of stuff, which takes you further from the trucks. Now I'm servicing the whole fucking warehouse. Meaning, got my hands in all departments. It's like 16 departments within one building. Got my hands in all these departments. Why? Cause now I'm all the way in the goddamn front. So when the managers have a meeting, I'm right there. I can hear every word. I'm right there. I'm right there with six big ass big screens with graphs and charts. That's what I'm looking at all day. I'm looking at that shit all day. Mathematics, graphs. And I'm like, people had to go to school for this shit. How the fuck did I end up here? I feel like I'm like what the fuck? Like I'm right, Brandon. Why am I amongst these people? But again, like I said earlier, you are the secret key when you can merge the worlds together, because most people can't. That's why they're fine being left-brained, but then there's certain problems that they can't solve because you need creative energy to solve these problems, right? So you can say the system is essentially broken until you fix it. So it's no coincidence why people hate their job, because this shit is not run efficiently. People are not running these corporations and these companies efficiently. It would take a person like you to come in and fix the system that's already broken. Instead of saying, "Oh, it's a broken system, fuck it." No, it would take a person like yourself go fix the shit. Otherwise, it ain't gonna be fixed. So that's what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, let me go into the corporate space and add on to it. Not just work for the people, but now they asking for, okay, what strategy do you feel is the best? How should this work? Now I'm being asked these type of questions. I'm like, damn, I'm just throwing boxes out of a fucking truck. Now people's asking me, oh, what strategy do you think is the best for us to take to get these results? Now my opinion matters. I was just throwing boxes up. They wasn't asking me shit then. But you see, I wear Medusa, right? See Medusa? All right. Owl glow, right? Medusa slash owl glow slash Rahu. So I'm saying all this to say, don't skip levels, because there's no need to. Of course, everybody would love to have $1 million and be able to have the freedom that they want, but you got to earn it. You got to earn it. And the way for you to earn it is to be innovative. Meaning nobody would give a fuck about Crowley if he wasn't innovative. It wasn't even that he was the most prolific. It was because he was innovative. That's why people give a fuck. Or that's why I give a fuck, because of the innovation. It ain't because, okay, you just did a lot. No, it's the innovation. Then not only did you did a lot, you updated the whole system. So that already separates you from what everybody else does. Of course, there's people that already know about astrology, the tree of life, numerology, all that, but they don't know it thelemically. That's the difference. Aleister Crowley allowed it to be more than what the people that came before him thought it was. They thought this is it. This is what they see. They documented it. They laid that foundation, no problem. But again, this was hundreds of years ago. At some point, again, moving into the 20th century, because Aleister Crowley created the tarot in the 40s, but it wasn't released to the public till the 70s, around the time hip hop was being created, before hip hop went mainstream. Hip hop went mainstream in the 80s. So this is what when hip hop was underground, then they released this tarot deck. So when hip hop was in the streets, before the corporate world came in, it was just straight creative. For whatever reason, this is the time they released this tarot deck into the world. This new tarot deck in the so-called Age of Aquarius, because in the 70s they say that was the beginning of the Age of Aquarius, right? It was a whole lot of Aquarian thinking in the 70s, right? For those who know the history. So, was that a coincidence? How is a deck that was created 30 years prior, why was it released in the 70s and it was created in the 40s? Why did it take 30 years for it to be released to the public? What the fuck was going on for 30 years? That's just because they really didn't like this motherfucker. Crowley released his deck to the public? Fuck that. It had the Age of Aquarius had to roll around. That's when people became more comfortable. Oh shit, you got Crowley? You got that deck? Fuck it. Let me buy those rights. Somebody bought the rights, and then they put it out to the public, right? Because they saw the value of it. They didn't see the value of it in the 40s, but they saw the value of it in the 70s, and that's why the deck was able to the change of ownership, and then they put it out to the public, right? Because for the most part, you only had two options. It was either you're getting a Crowley deck or you're getting a Rider Waite deck. Those are really the main two options. You know, over time, more people started making tarot decks, but those are the two major options. So for me, it was really a no-brainer because of the size of the cards. You see how big these goddamn cards is? What other tarot card is this goddamn big? To the point where you're like, damn, you're not even supposed to be using these for readings, which is correct. According to Crowley, the tarot is deeper than meets the eye. So while everybody else shuffling decks, pulling cards and shit, you're like, nah, that's there's more to it than that. This is actually a map of the whole universe if you know what the fuck you're looking at, if you know what you're doing. Apparently most people don't, because most people don't use it like that. But clearly he made it his business to make sure that it's used properly. Seems like he was the only one though, because we see most people didn't go that route. Most people are still fortune telling around this bitch, pulling cards and shit, like they really doing something. But if I was to ask you, what is the second deacon of Leo? What card is that? How many tarot readers could answer that question? What card is the second deacon of Leo? What is the second deacon of Leo? Do you think a tarot reader could answer that? Nope. An astrologer could probably answer that, but they're not really picking up tarot decks. So they probably know what the second deacon of Leo is, but what tarot card is that? They couldn't really tell you that unless they're into the tarot, but you gotta have this in your mind already. If it's not in your mind, you can't use it. So that's why most people they have a ceiling. You can only go so far because they taking a bunch of notes and shit. When you have to commit this to memory in order for it to become alive. That goes for astrology, numerology, Kabbalah, anything, not just Telema, anything. You got to commit it to your memory for it to be alive, for it to be living within you. You are the living embodiment of the tree. You become the tree of life when you memorize it. You're basically eating the tree and becoming the tree. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I ask you, what's the 16th path from the tree of life? Or the Kabbalah? What's the 16th path of the Kabbalah? How many people can answer that? Not many. Because they don't know it like that. Not like that. They got but that ain't gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it. This is what I say, I wanted to demonstrate this energy. Let me show you that I can work harder than everybody else. I can do more than everybody else. I'm like, let me show it. And I did that, right? But I'm like, that's just the line of Crowley, though. I feel like that's what Thelemites are supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be outdoing everybody else because you got the game already. You have what nobody else has. So you should be able to do what nobody else can do because you have what nobody else got. As simple as that. So yes, they may know their tarot, their astrology, their numerology, but they don't know it like you know it. They haven't updated their software and their hardware. They're not even on a level of technomancy yet. They're still doing spells and fucking rituals in the forest somewhere. I thought we was in cyber world. We're in cyber world right now, right? This is cyber world. Rituals can be conducted here too. But for whatever reason, people ignore the digital world like it's not real. People like, oh, it's just social media. The digital world goes beyond social media, right? But not a lot of people have websites nowadays. It's not really popular. Websites are not as popular as they used to be, right? Everybody wanted a website when the internet came out. But now everybody just wants a social media profile. They don't want to pay that monthly fee. I still pay my monthly fee to even keep my website up. Even though it's down, I still pay that monthly fee. But I'm like, whenever I want to bring it up, it's going to be right back because I still pay that monthly fee. If you have a social media page, you ain't got to pay no monthly fee. So that's another reason, right? People ain't trying to pay those fees. It costs to be in this digital space, right? So even though you're creating free profiles, they're still making money off of your free profile. They make money off of your free profile. So I'm like, all right, if you exist on the internet, you might as well make money from the internet. And it don't have to be because of a certain path. There's so many ways. You don't have to be necessarily a content creator to make money off the internet. But in the 21st century, you should have some money coming from the fucking internet. You should not be fully local. That's why we have things like cryptocurrency. Get out of your local mind. That shit don't matter no more. It's all about the universe. That's why Crowley changed it from the world to the universe. Why? These are just questions that you're just not going to get answers to, really. Because people are not thinking about this shit. Why was it switched from the world to the universe? Why was it important to make that change? When you start asking yourself these questions, it makes like, oh, I see. But it ain't gonna make no sense. People like, oh, well, one deck is the world and another deck is the universe, but they're the same thing. No, the fuck they're not. To the lame person, it is the same. There is no difference. Oh, well, it's just a difference of spelling. A world is a universe. Skipping levels. So it ain't too many people that's not skipping levels no more. It ain't too many people that's not skipping levels. Because again, people want everything quick. They want everything quick, fast, in a hurry. But the real reward takes time. Would you really want $1 million overnight if you didn't know what to do with it? Most people want things, but they don't know what to do with it when they get it. It's that simple. Most people want, like, oh, if you ask, oh, would you want $1 million? Of course they're gonna say yes. Do you think they know what to do with it? Nope. They're gonna spend that shit and be broke again because they never learned how to make money. People think, oh, I made money. Could you get a paycheck? That's not the definition of making money. Most people don't know how to make money. They know how to get a paycheck. They don't know how to make money though. They don't even know it's a difference. But if you ask the average person, oh, do you make money? Yes, I do. No, do you make money? Like, make it appear when it wasn't there before. Some internet shit, some digital shit, some cyber magical shit. So if everybody's trying to get likes, comments, followers, shares, and all that, how are they not technomancers? How are they not cyber magicians? Because it's all the digital world is even more powerful than the physical world at this point. The digital world is more powerful than the physical world, or it's more influential. We'll say that it's more influential. What do I mean? It's obvious. If a person got 1 million subscribers on Instagram or followers on Instagram, they're gonna get a whole different treatment than if they didn't have those numbers. Even though those numbers don't really mean shit, but it means something to those who don't know better. So, because they really want that. You ask the average person, would you hear it? Do you want a million followers? Of course they do. Do they know what to do with them? Nope. Because we didn't seen it, right? You just seen people who had hundreds of thousands of followers and get their page deleted because they couldn't control themselves. They don't know what to do. Like, oh shit, I finally got it. I finally got the money I wanted. I finally got what I wanted, but don't know what to do with it. What are you gonna do now? Because people think, okay, when I get this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It don't. It never happens that way. It never happens that way. Because you have to know how to make money. Just because somebody gives you a lump sum doesn't mean you know what to do with it so that that lump sum becomes multiple lump sums. Most people think, okay, oh, I got 50K, for example. What am I going to do with this 50K? How am I going to spend this? Versus, how do I turn this 50K to 100K? Then 100 to 200. Then 200 to 4, 4 to 8, so on and so forth. Because when you think like that, you're not even thinking about the pleasures you can receive from that amount of money. To the average person, think, oh shit, what can I do with this 50,000? Oh, I can travel the world. I can do this. I can do that. They're not thinking like, okay, I'm not gonna do shit but make more money. I'm gonna double, triple this before I even think about doing anything. I'm about to triple this. Is the average person thinking like that? Nope. So that's why they don't have the opportunities. I'm just explaining to you why people don't have the opportunities they don't have. They want, essentially. Why they don't have the money or the relationship or the status or whatever it is that they crave or desire. Why they don't have it because they don't know what to do with it. You got a lot of women that want the perfect guy, don't know what to do, don't know what to do with him. A lot of guys want the perfect girl, don't know what to do with her. It's just that simple, right? So when you look at people who, or when you are amongst people who forever crave things that they're not ready for because they're not putting in the work, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. Whatever a person don't have is because they're not ready for it. Because you would fucking have it. Alright? You will figure out a way to obtain it which requires you to be creative and innovative because a way may not exist. You may have to create a way that previously was not there. That's a true that's a true route or path to wealth. You have to create a dimension that didn't exist before. And then people come into that dimension. So whether it's a social media profile, whether it's a website, you're creating a mythos that didn't exist before you, right? That's all the that's all the woman that created Harry Potter. That's all she did was create a mythos, and now she's living off of this mythos. It's not even about her. It's just that's I'm just showing you how this shit works. All she did was create a mythos. She didn't write books about herself. I think her name is J.K. Rowling or some shit like that, right? All she did was write the Harry Potter books. It was never about her. Well, you can say that was her. You can say alter ego or her animus. Harry Potter is her animus. You can say that. That would be correct. Because a woman's animus is masculine. So you can say Harry Potter to her, that is her alter ego. So she's just writing about some shit that is real to her, some shit she's actually doing just through the alter ego, through the animus. Because your animus is your magical self, or your anima for a man, which will be a woman, that's your magical self. Meaning, for you to even tap into magic, you got to tap into the opposite nature of yourself. Are people making that the prerequisite for activated magic? Okay, well, if you want to do anything magical, for example, as a man, you got to tap into your anima. Because when you tap into your anima, that's going to make your relationship with all women more pleasant. While we're thinking, okay, I got to do all this to impress a certain woman or to have a certain result with women, and you realize, like, no, you actually just got to work with your anima. The work you do with your anima will then influence these women that you are already amongst. It doesn't work the other way around, but people think it do. Okay, I gotta direct these energies towards a specific person, and they wonder why they don't get the results they want. Like, what the fuck? You skipped the level. Then fuck your animus? Or you want this dream man or this dream woman, but the dream man or dream woman is your own animus, your own anima. So what people really want is something within, but they're looking outside. They're looking for the perfect guy, the perfect girl. It's actually you. It's your magical self that you're seeking from other people. But then people, why do you get into toxic relationships and stupid ass, messy ass shit? Because that was never all the shit that come with that wasn't worth it. So why people searching for their dream characters outside themselves and then they think they found one and it's like the shit end up stupid is because you wasn't supposed to skip levels. All the disharmony and all the fucked up shit that happened, you skip levels. That's all it is. Anything fucked up is because you skipped a level. It didn't. It ain't. It just gotta happen. No, it don't. You just don't skip levels. And this is coming from a person that you see. I took the long way, right? We took the long way. We ain't took the shortcuts. We took the long route. That's why we still here, right? Still talking this shit, right? We still here, right? Because we know that this is something that's lifelong. This is not a phase. Okay, this is something I did in the 20s or 30s or whatever. This is if you're not gonna die this way, don't waste your time, right? I mean, if I thought something was better than Thelema, I would be over there, but there isn't. Nothing is more advanced than Thelema, I guarantee it. It's just that most people don't know how deep it is. So they think it's like everything else. Well, that's just this. It's just another occult path. They're not looking at it as the occult path. This is the path. Because this is not telling you, okay, you need to be a certain way. It's telling you to follow your true will. Right? But that's why I be feeling like I'm too real. You see, I'm not up here pushing a fucking product. I'm here just letting it be known this is what you should do to better yourself. So while everybody else is pushing products here, buy my product, buy this, I'm like, nah. You ain't gotta buy a goddamn thing for me. Just take heed to what I say and you good to go. Right? But again, it's like you kinda have to be like that when it's like a lot of content creators, they do shit because they have to. It ain't because they want to. And that's what I mean by like it's just hard to find sincere creators because we know how the game go. Why make a video that's like only 10 people gonna see? Or you can make a video that 1,000 people gonna see, or tens of thousands of people. Why make a video that you only gonna get 100 views on? Like this video, think this video is gonna get thousands of views? Nope. The only people that's gonna see this is the people that's supposed to see it, and that's it. And I realized this is just what this channel was for. If I want to be famous and I want to do some extra shit, I gotta do it on another channel. It's not gonna happen on this channel. This channel was never designed for it to be that. Not that I can't have those things, just not from this perspective, right? This was never meant for that, right? That's why I be doing the other shit. I be doing ASMR and I be doing all type of other shit, right? So I'm like, but this is sacred. That's why I can't think about the money. That's why I can't think about what somebody can do for me. That's why that was never the issue whatsoever. But that's why I'm still around. Because everybody else who wanted something from the people, when they got it, they didn't know what to do with it. That's all I'm saying, right? So because I never asked y'all for anything, you see, I'm not asking for no fucking cash apps. I'm not asking for no donations. I'm not asking you to buy shit from me. The website is not even up. So even if you knew what I had to offer, the website is not done. So you can't even buy no shit. You can't buy shit from me. I don't even make it available. So motherfuckers can't pay me if they wanted to. Is that the proper way to be a YouTuber? Probably not. But somebody got to be above this shit. That's why I never define myself as a YouTuber. I'm like, I'm above this shit, right? I am not. I don't do what YouTubers do. I don't agree with YouTubers. I don't like YouTubers. Just like the same with spiritual people. I don't like these motherfuckers. I'm not amongst them. I don't hang with them. I don't chill with them. I don't like. They are not me. I am not them. It's the same thing with the YouTubers. They are not me. I am not them. But is that really a coincidence? Nope. Because when you're not skipping levels, you ain't really concerned about what anybody else is doing. Because you got enough on your plate already. Even the word Thelema, it only has 286,000 searches per month. Now you would think like, oh, that's a pretty decent number. No. Compared to like ASMR that has like 14 million searches a month, you think something with 300,000 searches a month compared to some 4, 5, 6 million searches a month? It's no comparison. So meaning this was never a path for me to become YouTube famous. Only 300,000 people even search this shit up a month, right? There's only 300,000 people even searching up Thelema. And then the odds of them finding my channel, you're not gonna find my fucking channel. I don't know how y'all found my channel. It's just you're supposed to be here. I don't know how the fuck you see I wasn't promoting it. YouTube does not promote this shit. I don't know how the fuck you found it, but you did. Cause you see, I just do me. I'm like, whatever happens after this is out of my hands, right? Who sees it, who don't sees it, it's out of my hands. I'm not even thinking about that, right? But let me just deliver what I'm supposed to deliver. Then where it goes is where it goes. I'm not even thinking about that, right? It's like I'm not thinking about the views, the likes, the comments. I don't be thinking about none of it. Everything that the YouTubers think about, I'm not concerned with none of that. That's why my content, you see, I just freestyle. Ask me if I created a script for this video, or did I just hit the record button? But I've been telling y'all that, right? I'm like, I stopped doing scripts a long time ago. I just started hitting the record button and just flow. Now I can be more professional and just try to edit. See, that's YouTube, but they want to be professional. They want to edit the videos. They want to make everything, nice and appealing. But if you really got skills, then you really have to do all that. But what I'm saying is people, they have to supplement what they lack. They have to supplement. So if you're not a good speaker, you better put some good visuals in your videos. Cause you do a lot of people make a lot of people make videos and you don't see the person's face. You just see them talking, and then they have imagery on the videos, right? A lot of people just have imageries. Some people don't show their face, right? So you got to supplement instead of, let me use YouTube to become a better speaker instead of trying to make perfect content. Let me just speak and get better at speaking, and eventually I'm gonna be good at speaking. Is that not what I did? I'm just telling you what I did. Hmm, I'm not really good at public speaking. Let me speak publicly. Now it ain't shit to speak publicly. I even have to do this shit at my job now. I gotta take a whole fucking microphone. I gotta MC. So I'm not just amongst computers all day. I gotta take the mic and give people advice. Even at work, I'm like, how the fuck do I end up in this situation in this corporate world that I'm the MC? How the fuck do I become the MC in the corporate world? Motherfuckers ask me, you want to add on to you want to add on, and I be saying some crazy shit too. I don't be telling people like what I said today. I just said like we're really not at work. Enjoy yourself. That's all I said. I'm like enjoy yourself. You're really not at work. I'm speaking over your head. I'm like you're really not at work. You're really what I'm really saying is you're really in a lab experiment. Because if you look at this as a job, if you look at it as work, it's like this is the last place you want to be. But if you look at this is a laboratory. It's time to experiment. This is exactly where you want to be. It's all about a mindset, right? So this is the type of shit I just be telling people, right? As the leader, as one of the leaders, I'm not the leader, I'm one of the leaders. So as one of the leaders, they're like, yo, get on the mic, motivate the people, right? So I got to motivate. I'm like, all right, well, is it a coincidence? That's what I've been doing before I even got here. See, some people just started doing that shit when they got there. See, that's what I can tell. I'm like, oh, this corporate world is really what made you. But I'm like, damn, everything I was doing before, I'm just doing now. I'm like, I was already doing this shit. I was already tech savvy in front of computers and shit. Now I'm in front of computers doing shit. I'm out, which I was already doing. So I was already emceeing. Right. I was gonna pull up my songs. I'm like, I don't even know if y'all even ready to hear that shit. So I'm still doing the music, still doing it because I'm like I gotta MC, right? That's just one of the abilities. I'm not gonna stop doing that. Because hip hop is the culture. So of course I'm gonna master my elements. So that's why I'm gonna getting sturdy. That's me mastering the b-boying, right? So that's why I'm like, yeah, I get sturdy. That's just an element of hip hop, right? I MC. That's just an element of hip hop. So because I know how to finesse the mic, best believe when that mic gets in my hand, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna say some shit. Cause I already know what it means to be the master of ceremony. So is it really a coincidence? I'm like, damn, like everything that I've been perfecting, I'm doing now. Because how did I get better at being sturdy? Because I'm getting sturdy at the job. Not in front of people, but I'll work in a space, you can say, of solitude at times. Sometimes I'm in solitude, so I can practice my moves and get better and better, and I ain't got to worry about it, right? Ain't nobody gonna like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? Well, nobody see shit. And the people that do see, they just like, oh shit, you're getting better. So the people that have been seeing me, they're like, oh shit. They're impressed. They're like, yo, I remember when you was doing this months ago and you didn't even have rhythm. Now when I see you doing it, you all over the place. Cause I've been consistent. All right? I'm like, I ain't got shit else to do but get sturdy, which is just me building up the energy, working with the dead. I need the dead to be up in this goddamn location amongst all this bullshit, which is just the people. Because when you're in there, when there's no people, it's a temple. It's heavenly. Soon as the people start coming in, oh, it becomes hell. So I'm like, oh, it's the people with all their mess, all their drama, all their bullshit, because that's what they're talking about when they're working. When they're working, they're talking about all the shit happening outside of the job, right? So they bring their bullshit on the job, and then now this heavenly place becomes hellish. I witnessed this. I'm like, when I walk into this building, it's heavenly. Nobody is around, wide open space. As soon as the people started coming in with their bullshit, like, oh, it's now heaven it became hell. Because they're in hell. You can only manifest where you are. You can't manifest heaven when you in hell. So I see this shit I see every day. I see it every day. I see hell every day. But I experience heaven every day as well. Because I'm always there before people come in. I'm always there after the people leave. So I feel heaven to heaven in the beginning. I feel heaven in the beginning. I feel heaven in the end. But in that in between space, hell. But that's just the people. They just don't know better. They don't have no control and discipline over life. Meaning they can pay their bills, right? They know how to pay bills. But life is more than just going to work and paying bills, right? It's just a bunch of free will. Meaning the mess is just free will. It's a result of free will. You just doing whatever the fuck you want to do because you can. That's the issue. It's the free will without true will. Again, I see this shit every day. It's just a bunch of people utilizing their free will. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can go whatever you want. You got the money to afford it, no problem. But they're really not doing shit with that. That's essentially what I'm saying. They're not really doing shit with it because they don't know what to do with it. Because who's gonna teach you what to do with it? So I just think that I'm the way I am because I did really have a teacher. So everything that I manifest is really me. I didn't come up under a teacher, right? I didn't have nobody telling me, "Oh, you should study Thelema. You should study Aleister Crowley." Nobody told me that. The first time I seen Crowley, I was like 18. I saw him on a documentary. It was a documentary about this yogi who was a teacher of the Beatles, Marshy something. It was Marshy something, right? The If you just type in the yogi for the Beatles, it was him. And then on the Beatles album, I think it was Saint Pepper or something. That Saint Pepper album, they had the face of Aleister Crowley on the album. The Saint Pepper album, Saint Pepper something. It's like a long ass title. So that was the first time I seen Aleister Crowley. So I was like 18 years old, right? But then they claim the Beatles were students of Crowley. Meaning, if you're a Thelemite, you should be able to tell those elements in their music. Can most people tell those elements? Nope. It got to the point where, cause I remember reading this shit. I don't know how I can recall. I read things one time and they just stay in my memory. Cause I swear I only read this shit one time, but somehow I know it. It got to the point where their shows were so chaotic that the people would be screaming so loud that it was louder than the music that they were playing. So imagine a band trying to play their song, but the people are just so outrageous that you can't even hear the music. I'm like, damn, we playing our song, but the people are just losing their mind. They can't even hear the music. This is the type of influence and effect that they had. They're like, fuck your music. We're just all about y'all. You're trying to play the music. They ain't trying to hear that shit. They going crazy over you with the group. right? Because it's unconscious. You could say they're men like other men. However, whatever, they got that Crowley twist on them. So when you look at, well, how are they able to do legendary things? Why is the music industry always associated with the devil? It's not even the devil that the music industry is associated with. That didn't come from music. That's just always been a part of the culture. Meaning the devil has always been a part of the culture. Meaning, if we created music and then the devil has always been an element that we knew of, it just wasn't negative per se, right? It wasn't shit to reference the devil in your music because we didn't have a religious sense of the devil. Only when the devil became religious, then people like, okay, that's negative. But when you take the religion out the equation, the devil is not negative. I mean, if you look at the devil card in the tarot, is it really a negative energy? It's malefic, but the goal is to transmute that malefic energy. So the so-called devil is for the purposes of transmutation. That's what that is. You're going to take malefic energy and make it non-malefic. That's all it is. We don't have to add all this religious shit to it, even though people do. But that's just because they don't know no better, right? They don't know no better. All right. And I do all this shit in front of you. A lot of people ain't gonna do this, just do psychedelics on camera and shit. But I do it because this is an intimate space, and there's no need to act like I'm not channeling energy right now, right? I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and smoke. Even though we done been on this bitch 113 minutes. Let me smoke after 113 minutes. Even though this has been sitting here the whole time. But I just, the energy. So, see? That's just to demonstrate I really don't need it. It's just an enhancement. It's not a need. Because I'm not going to say it's easy to become dependent on this shit. It's actually hard. Addiction, as we know, is not easy, it's hard. But I don't even want to use that word because even that's bullshit. Because they never talk about fasting. Meaning people are addicted to food, right? But that's not really viewed as a bad thing because we're taught to eat 3 times a fucking day, which is already too much. Especially you eating 3 full meals a day. That's supposed to be standard. That's supposed to be normal. Nobody would say you have a food addiction because you eat 3 big ass meals a day. Nobody would say, damn, that's kind of excessive. Because we're not trained to view food as an addiction. Unless it's like some sweets or some shit, right? You just eating too much sweets or too much of this or too much of that. But if we're just talking about meals, nobody's gonna look at you crazy because you ate 3 full meals in one day. But let you smoke 3 blunts, oh then you addicted. 3 meals, just fine. 3 blunts a day though, People that are unconscious will look at that like, oh, that's you have a problem. Then like, damn, you smoke 3 blunts a day? That's crazy. But then the person smoking 3 blunts a day is looking at you crazy like, damn, you eat 3 whole meals a day? How did your stomach not explode? But the person with the problem is the person smoking the psychoactive substances. Eat as much food as you want. It's not psychoactive. So we can't call it an addiction because there is no psychoactive activity. You see the strings that they pull? It can only be an addiction if it's psychoactive. But then they say you can have a porn addiction, which now we're not talking about a drug in a physical sense. Now we're talking about a psychological sense. That's a psychological drug. You see how they play? So if it's not psychoactive, it's not a drug addiction, but you can also have psychological addictions. But you go to work every day. Some people go to work and be talked to crazy and shit, and nobody's gonna have a problem with that, and you got to deal with that shit every day. Are you addicted to BDSM because you have a boss that likes to talk crazy to you, and you keep showing up? Are you addicted to BDSM because of that? Because you have people that always complain about their boss, but then they keep showing up. Are you addicted because you keep showing up to a place you hate going to? Is that an addiction? Because people will consider that an addiction. You keep doing this drug and it don't even make you feel good. It just make you feel normal. Because that's what drug addicts say. It get to a point where you ain't even getting high no more. You just doing the drugs to feel normal. It ain't even you're trying to go out of space. You're just trying to feel normal now. So they're real tricky with their wordplay. But that's why I do it in front of you. I'm like, oh yeah, let me show you this shit is psychoactive right now. And still navigating the corporate world too. Still navigating the occult. Right? I'm just mixing all this shit together. Octopus. Octopus. 8 extensions. 8 in 1. Just like that. 8 in 1. And here I am now, about to start cooking up content again, right? So I haven't even been cooking up content. Now I'm about to add another arm to the equation. But I do it because it got to be done. And I see now that I see why I had to do what I had to do and why it's not even past tense because we're here now in the present, moving on to the future. Well, I guess it's clearer to me now why it's necessary that I do this. Because you see, I do it easily. This is not taking any effort, right? And it's about to be 9 and shit. I guess I gotta stay aware of the time now. Cause I'm like, alright, I can't fucking be on here too goddamn long. Fuck around after. Cause it's only I only have like a couple little hours. And it's right back to the Justice Cipher born. So I'm definitely not gonna be on here too much longer. I would say I'll get off at 9. I'll check out at 9, cause then I have to do what I gotta do before bed, and then right back at it. And that's not 8 hours. It's not even 6 hours. I'm talking about operating under 4 hours. Cause that's just the sacrifice I have to make. Right? I can be like everybody else and get eight hours of sleep, but I'm like, if you times that by four, 8 times 4 gives you 32. That means I can have 32 extra hours if I decide to sleep 4 hours instead of 8 hours. So that's over a whole day. So I got an extra whole day of time because I choose to sleep only 4 hours and not 8 hours. I cut the sleep in half, and that gave me more than a whole day extra to do other shit with. So with that 32 hours, that whole day, that's like a whole day of you doing, you can say, the creative stuff or doing something else. Something like this, right? So instead of, all right, fuck it, I'm about to go to bed because I got to be to work in 8 hours. Nah, let me present this to you and then sacrifice sleep because nothing is free, right? So sleep is being sacrificed on a daily basis so that I can do things like this, right? And the research that's needed to come behind everything. So in order for me to present this, I had to clearly spend a lot of time studying and shit. But I guess that's the crazy thing, right? Because it takes some years to get the master's degree, the PhD, the doctorate. But I'm like, if I look at how long I've been studying that same amount of time it would take for a person to get a doctorate. The same amount of time it would take you to get a master's. I'm like, I've been studying that same amount of time. So I guess that's why I feel ready for the corporate world, I guess. Like I had to get a fucking doctorate in the occult though. Imagine that. I mean, I'm not even qualified for the corporate world without a fucking occult doctrine, or occult doctorate or doctrine. I guess you can kind of use those words interchangeably, huh? So, in my particular case, it just so happened to be Thelema. Meaning, just something that you're obsessed with. You just have to find out what that is for you. You can say, I'm obsessed with this stuff. So, whether it's hip hop, whether it's Thelema, whether it's the occult as a whole, and beyond, you see, it's an obsession for me. If it's not an obsession for you, then don't expect you to take these type of sacrifices. I was only willing to do what I did basically in the past, go through all the hardship because I was obsessed with the culture itself. So that's why I was able to get through, such hardship and just hardship that most people will never have to experience because they're like, okay, what it wouldn't be worth it for them. It just for me, it was worth it. It's just when it's worth it for you, you're willing to go through the hardship. When it's not worth it, you're not willing to go through the hardship. That's basically what it comes down to. You could say Thelema, hip hop, technomancy. I was willing to go through the hardship that comes with it, which is just the other side. I was willing to deal with the other side, which basically you have to accept. Just like if you're an artist, you know love is gonna come with hate. So no matter how many people love you, it's gonna be some people that hate you, because that's just what come with love. Well, as many people that you may help or try to be helpful to, it's still gonna be people that look at you as disgusting, right? You think everybody that views this video is looking at me as some kind of fucking prophet or saint or some type of monk, some type of spiritual guy? Especially if they don't know the previous works, right? Some people, I'm just a character that popped up on their screen, right? Then to some people, they're like, okay, yeah, this is the homie, right? It all depends on perspective. So ask yourself, what are you obsessive over to the point you're willing to go through the darkness of it? I was willing to go through the darkness of hip hop. I was willing to go through the darkness of the occult, because everything has a dark side, and most of the time that's not what you see. Which is why I had to go into the streets myself and see it with my own eyes. I wasn't going to put that in somebody else's hands. I'm not going to ask somebody else. Let me go get my own experience. That's why you see everything I present is based off of my own experience, because y'all saw me actually immerse myself into it. I never had the option to ask anybody else. Again, I'm talking about the Lima. I'm not talking about something that was created yesterday. I can't call the creator. Alistair Crowley, you can't get this dude on the phone. Oh, what did you mean when you said this? What does this mean? Right? So you have to be willing to go into the darkness of whatever it is that moves your soul, not your spirit, your soul. Because if it's strictly spiritual, we know where that leads. Essentially, it leads you all over the place. There's no way to ground yourself when you're dealing with spirit. That's why so many spiritual people are just all over the place, right? Hearing all type of shit, voices and all. Is you would be amazed. So the type of shit people be out here going through, and they don't really understand. They have no understanding of why. So a lot of people going through shit and they don't know why. They don't know why they hear voices. They don't know why they go into these worlds when they go to sleep, or why they have these visions. And it's a lot of things that happen to people and they don't understand it. It just happens to them, right? You can say it was just based on the time they was born. They just so happen to be born in a time where the earth was more intuitive. So they just so happen to be intuitives, but that don't necessarily mean that they're going to comprehend what's being revealed to them, right? That's why it takes time and study to know. That's why you study, so that you can understand the things that are being revealed to you. For example, I told you about this earlier. How would I be able to connect the dots if I didn't study? If I didn't know who Santa Morte was? If I didn't have that background information? You can only go so far, right? Because the spirit ain't just gonna tell you, okay, do this. This is what this is. We may not have that type of connection with spirit, where spirit is just laying everything out for us and we ain't gotta do no additional research. Most of the time, we're gonna have to do additional research, and the only thing that's gonna make you enjoy doing that is you are obsessed over it. So that's why I encourage you to find whatever your obsession is. I'm not telling you to follow your dreams, follow your obsessions. In the words of Crowley, follow your bliss. Follow what you are obsessive over. Essentially, Pluto, the planet of obsession, that's none other than Pluto. So, what does your Pluto say about you? So, while everybody else is looking at what their sun says about them, what does your Pluto say about you? That's going to give you insight that you are not able to get from the sun. your sun sign, as they say, right? Because we have 10 planets. For whatever reason, people emphasize this, that's just because of the West. Just know that the reason why we just give this over importance to the sun is because we're here in the West. They don't do that shit in the East. That's why they're more lunar based. Chinese New Year is the new moon and all that moon. They go off of lunar calendars. We go off of solar calendars. So it's no coincidence that we consider our sun more. That's the most important element. That's the most important point. Everything revolves around that sun sign. But that's really a Western perspective because in the East they give a greater emphasis to the moon. Where was your moon at the time of your birth? They're going based off of that. That's more important to them because you can say your moon is more so what you're dealing with on a daily basis versus what you deal with on a seasonal basis. Like essentially, imagine if a person only saw you like every season. Every time the season change, that's really the only time you see a person. Versus a person you're interacting with on a daily basis. That person that you interact with on a seasonal basis, that's going to be a different type of communication, a different type of energy exchange than somebody who's interacting with you on a daily basis. It's two different approaches, two different types, right? That's why the sun and moon are considered opposite, right? So I'm just saying not to say the over importance of the sun is based on our location. But that's not necessarily how astrology is or how astrology goes. That's why we have 10 planets. That's 10 conduits. You have 10 planets, that's 10 conduits. That means energy is being directed into you from 10 different paths. Meaning the Pluto is no less important than the sun because we think of the sun as big, bright, and vibrant, and it gives all life. Then Pluto is somewhere in the abyss, demoted, and nobody even thinks about it as even a planet no more. How can they have? How can one influence? How can they be of equal influence? Or maybe Pluto even has a greater influence. But how could that be with Pluto being so small? Because that's how we know like the size. It's not even about the size. Because the moon is nowhere near as big as the sun, but the moon clearly has an influence on the people. You can see how the full moon affects people versus how the new moon affects people. These are things that you can tangibly pick up on just in the vibes and also the actions of people. Full moon, people tend to get drunk and they want to release energy. New moon, you're absorbing energy. So full moons, you're going to see a lot more messiness, people releasing energy, arguing, drinking, just releasing energy, as they call the lunatics, right? You're going to see some lunatic activity on a full moon versus a new moon. Probably ain't really going to see too much on a new moon because people are more internal. The energy is going inside. So, you see, that's how the individual thing, that's a collective thing. What the people realize is going on or not. So even though the moon is nowhere near the size of the sun, it still, you can say, has an even greater influence. Because that emotional pull that the moon has on the people is great. Versus the sun is always up there giving us the light, but in terms of what's moving and what's swaying you, that's the moon. You can say that's even more influential than the sun. If we look at the reality of things, but again, because we're over here in the West, we're designed to automatically view the sun as the most important. And then the moon, again, it ain't even the moon gets some attention, but not enough. Then if you really studying, then you then added the ascendant to that equation as well, which is the Holy Trinity. Other than that, though, even the average person that's already into the occult, if you ask them, well, what's your Pluto? What sign is your Pluto in? that ain't even something that most people commit to memory. And we're talking about people within the spiritual community. We ain't even talking about the layman's. We're talking about occultists and spiritual people. Like, oh, what's underfluent? That ain't something that they just keep on cap, right? They don't just keep that information on cap. They keep their sun sign on cap. They know that at all times. They ain't got to think about it. They know that like the back of their hand. But when I ask about Pluto, you don't get the same type of reaction. You don't get the same type of swiftness. And the only reason it's that way is because, again, this is what I mean by it's different when you don't have a teacher. You don't, meaning I never thought like that. That's why I went into every dimension of astrology. I'm like, I ain't, if I had a teacher, the teacher would just teach from their perspective. Why would a Western astrologer recommend Vedic astrology if that's not what they're into? Why would a Vedic astrologer recommend Western astrology then if that's not what they're into? So you're gonna have a preference. But when you just study it all, 'cause I didn't have a preference, I'm like, I need to know as much as I can about it. And then I figure out what the preference is after that, not before that. Let me learn as much as I can, then I figure out what works for me. So that's basically me creating a path instead of taking a path that has already been walked. So that's why, yeah, I've been all over the place. But again, do most astrologers go all over the place? Not really. That's not really the norm. But again, they're not really. Most astrologers are not occultists. Okay, so this is what I mean by like it's. I know I be talking about this stuff so interchangeably, but I realize that all these things are fucking separate. And just for whatever reason, I just bring it all together. But that's really not how most people do it at all. I guess that's just how that's. But to me, that's what the Lima is. It's union. So to me, again, that's what's the Crowley was the. Nobody else did it. I just keep reiterating that. So even me, like the reason, because when you read Crowley, you're gonna be learning about everything. He's not just telling you about Western occultism. He's telling you about Eastern occultism. He's not just staying in one place or one perspective. That's why he's so hard to fucking study. That's why most people don't read it. It's like it's not easy to read. It's not for a fucking fifth grader, right? It's not like an article that you're gonna read on the internet. This is some shit you gotta have a mature mind to even comprehend what's being said. Cause it's written in code. So it's not even like something it's not even you can't even take it on face value. Like, okay, there's multiple levels to this. So not only is it profound as it is, you still have to look at it from a multi-dimensional level. That's what the occult is. The occult is looking at things multi-dimensionally. You're not looking at things. Okay, the only planet I should care about is the sun. That's most people. We're like, what's going on over there in Pluto? I need to be aware of that dimension as well. Then that's you being aware of 10 dimensions, 10 planets, 10 dimensions, 12 zodiacs, 10 plus 12, 22. You add that 22 with the 10 Sephira plus Dolph gives you 11. 22 plus 11, 33. Those are the stages of wisdom. That's how a person becomes wise. Again, that's why I mentioned Jesus dying at 33 or the Christ dying at 33. It's all numbers. That number wasn't just by coincidence. There really is, you can say the story is fake, but the number is real, which makes it real. And that's how the whole, again, when you're reading cryptic, because what people consider holy is cryptic. You can't take any of that on face value. It never was meant to be taken on face value, even though people do and they create a religion around it, but it was never meant for that. So now we got people believing that David and Goliath existed and this shit, people, a motherfucker really threw a rock at a giant. People really think like, oh, that shit actually happened, which is completely removing the purpose of the story. Like, okay, well, what is the purpose of this? Fuck if it happened or not. Even if it did, what are you getting from it? What wisdom are you extracting from the story? But for whatever reason, if we make it historical, now we get focused on the actuality of the events, not realize, okay, well, what are you supposed to take from it? Well, they can't really tell you what to take from it because they don't know. How the fuck they supposed to tell you what they don't know? Or they choose to keep it a secret, and that's I guess to me that's really the answer to everything I'm really saying is that the people that really know they ain't talking. That's ultimately what it comes down to. The people that know what I know, they're not talking. They don't have YouTubes. They're not teaching shit. Why? Because they're a part of fucking secret societies, and they have a oath. They took an oath of silence. So even if they wanted to say something, they can't because they will violate the oath. And when you violate the oath, now strange things begin happening. That's why people are so obsessed with Hollywood. When you see strange shit happening to people, it's because they violated the oath. Strange shit just don't happen randomly. That's not how Hollywood works. Everybody just so overly obsessed with Hollywood, not realizing that Hollywood has Thelemic roots. So of course I would fucking know about this shit because the people that Hollywood studied was people like Jack Parkinson's, who was the leader of the OTO in Pasadena, California, aka Devil's Gate, which I showed you, right? Did we not go to Devil's Gate? Yes, we did. Did I not take y'all around Hollywood? Yes, I did. Did I not show y'all Ishtar's Gate and all type of crazy shit? And the cross of Osiris. Why is it an Ishtar's Gate and a cross of Osiris? Yeah, I showed you all that, right? So these people studied Thelema. So the roots of Hollywood is Thelemic. It's just no question about would they ever say that? No. Because again, mentioning Aleister Crowley is like a no. So you see the way I just casually mention this motherfucker, you can't really do that shit. Motherfuckers don't like his name coming up and shit, and it's like they can't really tell you why. They just can't comprehend what the fuck, why he did what he did. Why did he reveal the secrets? They don't like this nigga. It's really that simple. They just don't like, yo, he wasn't supposed to reveal that shit. That's why they hate this motherfucker. They don't hate him because he wrote more books than them. They hate him because, like, yo, you weren't supposed to do that. You were not supposed to be this white man talking about these black scientists. You were not supposed to do that. Nah, that's not. Even though that we know that that's all. That's whether you're a Mason, whatever secret society, you're going to be studying all this shit anyway. You're just not supposed to reveal that. Crowley just so happened to reveal it. He revealed what he was supposed to keep secret. That's why they call him the wickedest man, not because he was doing some ritual somewhere in the forest with doing unspeakable acts. That's Hollywood every day, all day, right? So that ain't the case. Because like, nah. Oh, he's a wicked man. He's a wickedest man because he did some type of spells or he was doing this. He wasn't. That ain't what they do. That shit in Hollywood every day, right? So it's not because of that. It's only because he revealed the secrets and then he just put just the blackness in front. Like this is black science. It's just that it's just, and then he allowed black people to be within the cult, which was again, this is before it was cool for blacks and whites to even be together like that. This is essentially that's why we have to consider the time period, right? That's why it is as powerful as it is because of the time. Again, we're talking about 1904, so this is before the fucking 60s and when shit became cool and now everybody hugged up together and want "I have a dream" speeches. Before this is 1904, where niggas is getting hung on tree from trees and shit. This is we still in those times where shit is real, where people are segregated. We over here, y'all over there. Don't come over here, and we ain't gonna come over there type shit. Right? It's the same way in jails now. So that culture is still alive. It's just in the jails. We over here, y'all over there. It's still alive, right? So that's a current. That's a always energy. So then he comes along and then dismantle that shit. Of course they're not gonna like this motherfucker. Like he dismantled our whole system. He technically did. He completely revamped not just the tarot again, the Kabbalah. He revamped everything we consider occultic study. He gave us a blueprint. He did exactly what the fuck he was not supposed to do. So for whatever reason, I get caught up with these controversial figures. He's not the first, right? And talked about a whole bunch of controversial figures, right? However, it's only viewed that way because of the times and because of the secrets that are supposed to be kept. If you read Crowley, he revealed all of the secrets. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get secrets that have been revealed that wasn't supposed to be revealed. But again, it's still coded, so it's not like he's saying it directly, but he kind of is. He kind of, but again, if you have the occult already in your mind, I mean, the only reason I understand Crowley because I already had this occultic mind before I knew who Crowley was. Meaning I was already into this stuff. But if I was trying to understand this and I'm not really into it, it wouldn't make sense. That's why I don't even watch videos about, Crowley documentaries and videos from people who are not practitioners. It's like how what the fuck can you really tell anybody about Crowley if you don't even practice anything magical? But again, it's content, so people like to be armchair scholars. So I guess that's really what it comes to. Yeah, it just comes to people like being armchair scholars. That's why people want to do content. They ain't trying to get up and actually invent some shit or be innovative and then test it against the world and see what the world think of it. Which is essentially what I'm doing now. I'm just testing everything I know into in the corporate space. In the corporate space. And somehow they didn't thrust my ass to the front of the building. Again, did I ask to be in the front of the building? Nope. If you was gonna ask me, do you know one day you're gonna be working in the front of the building doing some hard ass complex octopus activities? If you would have asked me that when I was throwing boxes, I'm like, I don't think so. But for whatever reason, I end up in the fucking front of the building, visible as hell. I'm trying to be introverted. They're fucking visible as hell now, right? I got to be extroverted. But this is what I mean by turning a malefic energy to a positive. I mean, I have to come out of myself to even enter into this space. I don't get to be me in that space. I mean, I don't get to be introverted. I can be introverted in the occult space because that's the prerequisite, right? I can be introverted. I can't be introverted in that space. I have to project in that space. When I'm in the occult space, I can go within, right? So I have to be the opposite. That's the only way for me to even exist in that world. So I had to be willing to, and this is what I have to face this every day. I have to be willing to step outside of who I am. But if you ask me who I was, would I care to even be amongst people? Not, I'm like, nah. But I have to be amongst the people in order to see who's who and what's what. So it's necessary for me to be amongst. So even if I wouldn't have a drink with these people or spend any personal time with these people, I still have to be amongst them to learn their archetypes. Because even when people are in their, whether they're in their best or their worst, they're still their archetype. That's one thing that don't change. So that's what I do. I'm like, I don't take anything personally. I just learn the archetype. I study the archetypes. So I don't really have like people I like, people I dislike. I don't even look at it in those factors. I'm just decoding what everybody archetype is, and are they true to it? And it turns out that they are. So it ain't. It's not personal whether I connect with a person or don't connect with a person. Is are they true to their archetype? And 9 times, 10 times out of 10, I haven't run into anybody who has not been true to their archetype. Whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant. Are they true to their archetype? Is that the King of Wands? Is that the Prince of Cups? Is that the Queen of Discs? Can I identify the archetypes? Yeah, what element is this person? What planet dominates this person? What is this person's name? What does that name break down to? What planet would that connect me with? What numbers would that give me? And whatever the result is, can you see this in that person? So if a person name break down to five, and I know five is Mercury, do you see Mercury in that person? Well, you have to know what Mercury is to see Mercury in the person. So that's what I mean. When you know already, it ain't nothing to put this into action. Like, well, let's find out in real time. Or you know the attributes of the planets, you know the attributes of the numbers. All right, well, you got all these people in front of you. All these people have a name. When you decode their name, are they true to their archetype or not? Because if they are, that's telling you something. Now you get beyond whether that person is cool, that person is not. You don't give a fuck if they're cool or not. Are they true to their archetype? Because if they are, whether they're likable or not is irrelevant. But I see this is what the corporate world is. It ain't about feelings. Again, it's just the energy of Saturn. It's not about your feelings. It is not about how you feel about anything. This is you're dealing with archetypes. So none of that matters. So the best way to navigate the corporate space is understand that you're dealing with archetypes. When you start getting your feelings about shit, you lose. Because I see it. It's people that enrolled with the power and fell off. I didn't see people rise up, fall down in the corporate space. It was just too much. It was too much pressure. Everybody can't hold the pressure. And they not even in the front of the building where all eyes is on them. And if you make a mistake, then everybody sees a mistake, and motherfuckers is like, yo, oh, if I make a mistake, oh, I'm gonna hear about it, right? I'm not somewhere ducked off in the corner. I can fuck up shit until I get it right. Like, nope. Oh, when it's wrong, it's really wrong. When it's bad, it's really bad. This is. I didn't even. Somebody just told me today. If I was in your position, I would have been quit. I just heard somebody tell me that today. They would not do what I do. They would have quit by now because of the amount of pressure, the intensity. So even though I be saying I'm doing this shit, I'm like, shit, this ain't. I'm not doing it. It ain't easy no more. I ain't throwing boxes no more. This is not easy. Where I can just zone out, vibe out, put some music on, and just like, nah, those days is over. Now I gotta use my fucking mental. Now I gotta think of strategies. Now I gotta overthrow the whole fucking system. That's how I'm I have to overthrow the whole system. The system doesn't work. I have to overthrow the whole, but then I have to prove that my way is effective. This is what I'm doing now. Like, oh, okay. So basically, I can tell them the plan. They're like, all right, implement it. You're like, oh, you think it'll implement it? Let the numbers show that you know what the fuck you're talking about. Because if you know what you're talking about, then we have no choice but to submit. But if you don't know what you talk about, then we're going to keep things the way they are. So essentially the only way for anybody to even take heed to anything I have to say is I have to show and prove with the numbers. I have to show and prove with strategy. I have to show and prove with results. This is what Saturn is. This is what the corporate world is. Like, oh, if you can bring in results, you got the floor. That's how you build trust in this world. So that's why it ain't about how hard you can work, how many boxes you can throw, how strong you are. Like, no, what strategy you got? How can you make what we do more efficient? Improve this over the course of time. That's what I have to do now. Those are the obstacles and the challenges I have to face on a daily basis. So that's what I mean. So if you fail hard. But if you succeed, then everybody has to acknowledge it. So that's the type of pressure that I'm up against. I have to deal with that every day. So eventually, if you stick with it, you will become effective. But then it could crush you if you allow it to. If you take it too personal, which is basically what happened. The people that didn't make it, they took it too personal. They get in their feelings. So even the person that said to me, "Oh, if I was in your position, I would have quit," they in their feelings. Damn, this pressure. You in your feelings, and this is not the space for that. But that ain't really something you can tell a person now, can you? Right? You can say that as much as you want to say it, but until they have some type of system to implement that, they're gonna stay in their feelings. That's why you just gotta let people stay in their feelings because it's habit. So even if you present them with a new way, they still have to break old habits before they can implement the new shit. So you can come with the new shit like, hey, you should do this, you should do this. It's not as easy as that. They already got something filling that space already. So they have to move that out the way before they can accept something new. That's why a lot of people have a hard time, accepting new ideas and things because they already have something occupying that space. They will have to delete that and then accept what you're saying, which is not going to happen. Especially, the older you get, they ain't motherfuckers ain't trying to delete shit. I know what I know, and that's it. They ain't trying to delete a goddamn thing. So you ain't about to come with no new anything. But there are some who are open, but it's because they always was. So that's not the norm. So it'll be people like you, like when you become an elder, if you're not already an elder, you will be open, but it's because you were always open. It ain't because you figured out, damn, I need to be open, otherwise I'm fucked. Some people will learn the hard way, but that's not necessarily you. Like, all right, I got to stay fluid. Why? Because the only constant is change. The only thing guaranteed is change. I know tomorrow is going to be different than today. That's a guarantee. Anything beyond that is up for grabs. But one thing's for sure is today will be different than tomorrow, which is different than yesterday. Change. The only thing that we can say for guaranteed sure is change. Things will change. Things are changing by the minute, by the second, by the hour, by the day, by the week, by the month, by the year. Change is happening on multiple levels, on a multi-dimensional scale. So if change is the only essentially reality, imagine that. The only thing solid is change. Imagine trying to wrap your head around that. The only thing solid is change. And then I'll leave y'all with that. It's 903, so 93. 93, 93, do what I will. is the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.